Zuckerberg or a Jobs and be like a Buffett or a Soros, rich dad.
Mm-hmm.
We're the 5%, and that's all we cater to.
Yeah.
And we're not very popular with the school teachers.
You've got that right for sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's my poor dad. They're good people. Don't get me wrong, you know. I'm just saying these are your choices here. And freedom is about choice. But we're not given those choices in school.
Well, you know, what's interesting, because I think to me in the end, you know, because you talk about, like you said, you know, your dad, you know, skilled academic, right? And
brilliant.
And probably a beautiful soul and caring and et cetera,
Yes.
has a purpose in life and wants to leave the world a better place. So the intentions are all proper, but there's also, I think, in that academic sector, this sort of disdain for the quote unquote profiteers, the entrepreneurs. You know, entrepreneur was almost a bad word when I went to school.
It's still a bad word.
Yeah. So it starts to, I think, translate, at least for me, that this starts to become sort of this spiritual issue, right? That I believe that, you know, for the people who were indoctrinated in the system, get out and they're working and they're taxed and they're, you know, all these things go on, that I think it has some sort of adverse impact on the human spirit. It's not just a monetary issue.
Correct. You know, there's 4 different types of intelligences. Number 1 is mental, and that's the academic type. 2 is physical, those are the athletes. 3 is the emotional, and 4 is spiritual. And they're all different intelligences. So the combination of those 4 makes up the human being. So for me, what gives me the advantage is emotional intelligence. See, most people come out of school so terrified of making mistakes. They go, oh, what if I fail? I said, well, if you're not failing, you're not learning it. Oh, what if I fail? You know, in school, you make mistakes, you're stupid. You know, in school, I was very cooperative at test time, but that's called cheating. You know what I mean? Everything is opposite. It's like we're like a parallel universe. E's and S's on one side, B's and I's on the other.
Right.
And all the rich dad company does, hey, look, you want to be E's and S's, go to school. You want to be on the right side, the B and I side, the big business, 500 employees or more. I have thousands of employees. I provide a lot of jobs, so I pay no taxes. I should get that.
Right.
You know, I don't like it when I see people struggling financially. I don't like this gap between the rich and everybody else. You know, I went past the 1% long time ago. I'll give you an example. In the 60s, I'm a child, I'm a Vietnam era guy. I fought in Vietnam, I'm a Marine, I'm a pilot, you know, and all this stuff. But I fought for capitalism. You know, I really did. I sincerely believe that in the American dream, but we don't have financial education. But when I was in Vietnam, there wasn't much of a gap between rich, poor, and middle class. You know, the rich had nicer houses and newer cars. That's about it. Poor guys had junk cars and junk houses. That's about it, though. And then it got to be that as capitalism took off and provided things. So today, the poor and middle class, they can afford to travel throughout the world, but they fly on Southwest or discount airlines. So capitalism provided discount travel for the poor and middle class, but the rich fly private jets. Today, the rich have their own rockets and their own satellites. So, do you know what I mean? Guys
Yes.
like Musk Musk provides it. Branson has his own satellites and all this. So I'm going to have my own rocket ship. I just don't have it yet. And that's the beauty of capitalism.
Yeah.
You know, for me to have my own rocket ship and launch my own satellite, I better be doing something.
Yeah.
Now, it's a stupid goal. I don't recommend it. But that's what capitalism is. Whereas socialism, let's take from the rich and give to the poor.
Right.
It's called Robin Hood theory. I don't support that because when I was in Sunday school, I was taught to teach people to fish, not take from the rich and give them fish.
Right.
And so that's where we separate. It's sad to say.
What do you think, if you look into the future, this wealth gap that you're seeing that's starting to widen, where's this going to lead us?
I think we're going to economic collapse, personally, because for thousands of years we've done what we've done for thousands of years what we're doing today. We spend too much money, we print money, we debase our currency. You know, we during the Roman empires, they took gold and silver and they mixed it with lead and nickel and stuff like this. We're doing the same thing. And so the trouble with what's happening to our money is In 1971, when Nixon took us off the gold standard, the dollar became dead. People don't know that. Dollar is dead. And they could print as much as they wanted. So the value of the dollar goes down. It's a very rich dad, poor dad. I said savers are losers. Because why would you save it when the Fed can print it? It doesn't compute in my capitalistic mind. The trouble is, historically, for thousands of years, anybody who's done this collapses. So the Roman Empire collapsed, the Chinese government collapsed, and we're doing the same thing. We just don't live long enough to know it. So we're pretty close right now. We just can't keep printing money and giving people money for free and think that it'll survive. And the trouble is, it's now a global problem. You know, we have the central banks of like European, Japanese, Chinese, everybody's central banks today, and we're printing money. It's not going to last.
This is a somewhat poignant statement. Savers are losers because they're saving dollars or whatever their currency is, and
That's all they know.
Yeah, and it's all they know. And incidentally, it's promulgated, right? You need to save, have zero debt, and you need to save, and that's the way you get to your future.
And I have 100% debt and no savings. It's opposites. It's a parallel universe.
Wow, but clearly, based on what is happening, you know how money is debased, it's clearly you're a lemming walking off a cliff.
Yeah.
And then you end up pretty broke, and you've got more life in front of you. And then what's going to happen is the communists are all going to scream more that we have to take from the rich and give to the poor.
Correct.
Scary scenario.
And the rich are screwing everybody. It's not the rich, it's our education system screwing everybody. That's the problem. See, I'm a child of the 60s. I remember this quarter came up and had a copper tinge around it.
I remember this.
1964.
Yeah.
That was debasing the money. And that's when savers became losers. So I was at a antique show, and they were actually selling quarters for $5 because the silver value was worth $5 now.
Wow.
And so if you're a saver, you go, well, why is that quarter of $5 now? Because your savings have gone down in value. No, they wouldn't do that to me. I said, yeah, they do every day. They print it.
Wow.
They print money to pay their bills. You know, if you and I did that, we'd be in handcuffs.
True.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really a great analogy, saying, okay, here's a silver quarter.
$5.
I get $5 for that. Here's one of those ones with the copper rim.
Yeah.
It's 25 cents.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between saying we have a monetary system that's based on something that's attached to like silver or gold, as compared to saying we just can do what we want to the currency. It's got no reference point, and that makes it worth less and less every single day.
Yeah, and everybody watches the stock market. Being a professional investor, the problem's in the bond market, and the bond market is bigger than the stock market. So we're in serious trouble financially, and so that's why when I talk to people, I say buy a silver dollar. It costs you $20. Oh, I can't afford $20. I said, then you got trouble.
Yeah.